welcome back. Doing a little something different today. One of my assignments was an interview question of finding an island parameter within a grid. Basically, what that amounts to is a list of integers, one being the space of an island within the list, rather, a list of lists, if that makes sense. List of lists of integers. So you've got a grid, right? Multiple lists in a list. They're all equal sides, I believe. And just finding the perimeter of an island inside this list of lists, and to hopefully help illustrate that, the idea is that if you are given this grid of a list of lists, and also this is for Python 3, find the perimeter. So this would have three sides, 1, 2, 3 that are ocean, being there's no island around them. 2 here, it's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Count this again because this is 1 here. 10, 11, 12, and that's your result. So I've considered a few things, like finding the indices of all the ones in here, but then you end up with a bunch of other lists, and you might as well just do the math. I think the approach here is going to be old school index of the length. Right, you want the range. All these are going to be an index, and then these are going to be an index of those, and that way we can pretty easily compare -1, +1, -1. We'll run into some issues where we're comparing on the end here, so we need to know those places. Those are going to be our pitfalls. You can do an enumerate in Python is one of my buddy's favorite iteration methods over an iterable, where it will give you the index and the value. I'm not sure if that's going to matter here. I mean, you can. It might be easier to read, knowing the types of values. So we could go that route. I think the only challenge is going to be remembering how to check the beginning and end of the list. I guess it's going to be range -1 if we use a range function. Let's see, does it say anything about the edge of the connected horizontally, vertically, not diagonally? Exceed 100. It's completely surrounded by water. There we go. Yeah, so there is nothing, you consider nothing but water outside the grid. So everything on an end is perimeter of 1. Let's quickly look up how to check if we're at the end of a list in Python. I think there's some built-in end stuff. Equal to end. We could always say equal to. Well, if you say a value -1, not sure if that's it. Length will tell you the list. Yeah, I mean, we can go off a length. Oop, that's an alarm. I need to do one thing real quick. Sorry, it's going to take a moment. Two minutes. Okay, I need 2 more minutes on this. Okay. I feel like there was some built-in stuff in Python, but I don't remember. Yeah, clearly not. I feel like I've seen this somewhere, but I don't remember. So, I mean, we'll just stick to indices and length, which is pretty easy. But yeah, we're just going to use some iteration. Okay, so if our grid is there, we're going to start with our values here. Here's the this is basically just a copy paste of this these requirements and constraints. So there's always one island or nothing. So we'll just return the perimeter. We're going to add to the perimeter everything that is a 0 around a 1, basically. So for every one of these, we're going to find out if they exist. If they do, check the indices around. So let's see if I can remember. Let's see, for row. Right, so we should be getting an index, which will be the index of the row, and if not index or index equals length grid minus 1. So this would be our top row and our bottom row. I say not index because an index of 0, the initial index, so we know that that's where we're at. Or the last one would be the length of the grid minus 1, because I believe in this case we're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for our length. So if we're on the 0 index, or the 4th index rather, we're down here. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the situations where anything above or below. So maybe this would be better outside of an, because I'm just gonna have to check. I'm gonna have to check a second time. I can already tell just reading this. So, right, because now I need to know, am I above or below for the checks. And I feel like this might need to be done inside the second enumerate. Let's call this row index. For call index of column and enumerate row. All right, so now we've got our inner loop going on. If not index, we're at the top. Let's see, although it's row index in this case. Okay, wow. I'll get there eventually. Just hang on. Oh, because home, I'm expecting home to take me here, but it's not, because it's taking me to the end of the OR. That's, yep. All right, row index. If elif, or at the final one, do something else. So we could say and call. All right, so if we're at the top, yeah, this is our column. Col, you know, I can spell it out. Everyone keeps telling me to quit making my stuff so short. Everyone wants to read the entirety of the code in the thing. So I'm just getting out of C habits where we had a lot of space constraints. Couldn't go over 80 lines was our linter. So, or say 80 lines, 80 characters on a line. So you didn't want to just like write a dictionary every time you had a code, because if you had a complex for loop with multiple statements or anything, it could get really hairy. And I think this thing's ready to kick off. You know, let's just start this real quick. Please excuse me for a moment. There we go. Just got to do something on my phone. Start off some automation. So I don't have to actually play a game. I could just let that run. Okay, it looks like it's going. All right. Okay, so let's see. I also need a separate timer because everything's based on time nowadays. Got to come back to it and check on things. We'll say 45 minutes maybe. So hopefully we'll be done by then. Cisco's asleep. My wife's getting up from her nap, going back to work. So everything's accounted for. Just got to get this done. Row index column. If the column, so if the value that we're at is a 1, we can assume that perimeter is at least 1. So perim is equals 1. Same thing if we're at the top, right? I could throw this into one giant statement, right? I could say if, yeah, but we're not going to do that. We're not messing with that. I do want an and column here again. So we can do the same thing here. I would really rather not have just a bunch of comparative. The thing is, we're doing the same action for each one, and technically we could basically wrap each of these in its own and say or these things. Again, I feel like that's a little gross, but it's going to be, I don't know, we'll see. I want to at least try it once, just see what I think about it. Okay, I guess we'll just start here. Let's throw this in there. I think that's necessary for a continuation line. Yeah. I think I can get away with it this way, though. I don't know if that's any better. Actually, it might be. Actually, kind of like this, since it's all the same action. We can just keep filling these in. Okay, so now we have row index equal to. That's the very bottom one. Now we need to. Although what if it's in the var in the bottom corner? I have to add 2. So I need two ifs at least. I can't key off the rest, right? With one statement, even though it's performing the same action, there are times where it would need to do multiple actions. Let's see. God, all this looks gross. This is just a lot of code, like a lot of stuff in one thing. I think this was my favorite so far. Oh. I mean, it'd be nice if I could just put or on its own line by itself, but of course that's not how that works. Of course that works, but this is all just a stupid. This isn't even part of the problem. I'm just like fiddling with this, trying to see what style I want to use here. To be honest, I don't know what the general style is, but this seems pretty decent. I think I'd want this here, maybe. No, the spacing, with the fact that these are tabbed in the same spot. In fact, if I tab them too much, it looks weird. If I don't tab them, maybe it looks okay. I feel like that's harder to read than this. We're just gonna do it. I'm just sticking with it. I don't know if you like it or if you don't. Let me know in the comments. Okay, so then our next else is gonna depend on our next if, rather. Let's see. We're gonna use column index. It's all the same thing. Call index. If not, let's grab this. Not call index and call or. Give that a little bit of space. What is it? This check for first and last columns. What is different here? Why is this not in love with this? It's not closed. It's closed right here. And the just save it. Did I? Oh, I threw this here. Okay. That explains a lot. All right. Check for first row. Check for first and last row. And this might be where getting the indices of the values inside this could help. It would change the format of the question, right? So if I had, instead of a grid of zeros and ones, I had tuples of like 2, and then the next one was 2, 3. Well, That makes it. I guess I have to count for the fact there's only one. I still can't check the forward and backward value. And then we'd have this situation where I need to know that there's one on each side. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I feel like I run into this kind of situation no matter what. I might look up some solutions online, see what other people have come up with in their time, in case there's just some quick function that I'm not, that I'm unaware of to do this. But right now it feels like we're just going to be going off of a bunch of. I'm trying to think if there's another loop I could make. I mean, we're getting into O of n complexity here. I feel like I need, no, a helper function. Still going to check all of them. I could write all this in a helper function instead of a, does that matter? I feel like I'm going to be doing this comparison here the entire time. If let's see, if col index -1, so that tells us that we have one behind us. Although if it equals 0, if you're on 1, it's going to equal 0, right? So that's not it. Greater than or equal to. Just feel like we have like a ton of if checks. Feels like a complicated. I feel like there's a simpler. There's got to be a simpler way to do this. Okay, so the idea here is that, right, so if we confirm that we can go back one on this check, I feel like I should be keying these off of here, like put them in tandem. on the first row, we never have to check the other row. I feel like I'm just doing a lot of redundant checking. I'm trying to think of how to simplify that. All right, because if it's a symmetrical, yeah, it's rectangular. So you can use rows for the size, maybe. Clearly, I mean, I feel for sure I don't need an and. Although, if it's greater than 0, these are all numeric, and less than. So we're counting for the first check and the last check here. Rather, the first row and the last row. I think we can say column just add column. So we're at a 1, and we're between the first index and the last index, or yeah, of the column. So the first column and the last column, we're in between, because we're going to add 1 for those two instances prior. We just want parim. No, we need to check. If let's see, row that we're in, column index -1. If that's a 1, then we don't. So let's say not, right? So now that if it's a 0, we want to parim +1. And then conversely, we're going to use, the same snippet. Probably doing. No, we don't want an else. We want this always to run both. So if +1, and then we just do the same for the row, and I think we're done. So basically, right, so we're going to check, are we on the first column or the last column? If so, we always need to add 1 to the edge. Does this and account for... No, I can't do this bidirectionally. meaning I can't use both the beginning and the end because I need to check. Yeah, no, this doesn't work. It kind of works, but I'm getting ahead of myself. I tried to cram too much in one space. So if our column index is greater than 0, we can check the previous. And then if it's less than the maximum, we can check the next. And I believe one of these conditions will always be true. But if it's at the 0, it's not going to run this one. It will then elif and check this one. I don't think I need to run all of it every time, right? If I run this one, if this one runs, then it doesn't matter if this one's true or not. Or does it? No, it does. It does matter. Yeah, no, so we're going to run both of them all the time. And then we're going to copy this, paste it down below. And this feels really, you know what, we're going to, it just feels like there's a lot going on here that I might not need to do, but we'll find out. Row index, and this really should probably be, instead of column, it should probably be value. And island piece, and is island, is land. How do you like that? Since we're using it as a conditional, that might help distinguish what it is we're actually checking. Row index greater than 0. We can check the previous row index. If the row index is less than size, we can check the next. So to test, we're going to create the main, and we're going to just throw this in here. And from this, we should expect that the output is 12. Oh, whoa, whoa, buddy, calm it down. What the hell? Okay, 54, 50. Wait, did I even? Oh, I was just from hitting enter. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Did I forget? No, is land, this, and is land. That's where we forgot to have that on there. Let's try that again. Much better. much better. Yeah. All right. Well, there she blows. Check all the land in between, all the adjacent land between first and last row. So I'm going to say check between first and last columns. Yeah, I mean, it seems okay enough. These got a little funky do. And I feel like I could maybe wrap this somewhere else. Right, like this could be, see if we can fix this a little bit. This just feels gross because they're both using and land, so I feel like this should have been written this way. find is land. That's much cleaner, right? This or this and this. Yeah. Again, like I said, I was looking at that going, what am I doing really? Like this first and last row, first and last columns. If I look at something long enough, that's just what typically happens. Like when I'm staring at something for long enough, I'm like, this bothers me. Why does this bother me? This just doesn't look like it should. I can usually discern eventually what it is that was the problem, and clean it up a bit. So let's make sure it still gets 12. Yeah, the logic's the same. It's just much easier to read. And I could just wrap this in an if for island, so none of this will run. That's probably better as far as time complexity, right? Like if is land, then run all this stuff, else just you don't even need to worry about it. And then we can take the is land. See, and that's the thing, right? Like this pattern is all over this. Like should not have really been there. At least that's the indicator for me. Of course, my parentheses was a part of that selection, so do we need that? No, I don't think so. I like it up here for the or. I think it's actually required there. I can take it out. I guess once I started using it, I started thinking C code, and C requires it. It's, man, bouncing back and forth between things often as we do at Holberton can leave you with some interesting notions of like what you should or shouldn't be doing. Of course, this is probably like a Pylance or whatever. Pep 8 is what we use. I'm trying to remember if I have that installed. I think it's PyCode style. PyCode style. And I can say 0. Great. 2. Okay. That one, was it 2? 11? That's probably this one. What character are we on there? 84. So about here, yeah. Found one. 14. That would have been here. Yeah, let's see. PyCode me. All right. Get status. Get and get commit. Let's see. 0x015. Let's see. Wait. 0x15. Island parim. Yeah, my mains are ignored, and so is my PyCache, so I don't end up with that in my stuff. Thank you, ignore file. So let's take a gander, and hopefully with that done in less than maybe 30 minutes, we can. Oh, some checks failed. Okay, what are we failing? Correct output for this 18. So let's grab the main and just see what we did. What's going on? Oh, that's not what I meant to push. Wait, what? Wait, but it wants more? It got 8, it expected 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah. So what did we do here? What did we miss? I feel like it's this last, let's say we got 18 though. We got 18. How did it add so many more? It'd be like 6 more. Oh, is this, no? And we could definitely throw these into an and. It would have fewer checks. I think those are okay in Python, right? Because it's going to run this check first, and then it runs this. At least that's how it used to work in C. Getting the same thing. Yeah. So I feel like it's adding something in here. It's got to be adding like something with adjacents. Some adjacent code got messed up. Let's see if the pattern. Is where we input our debugging code. Okay, we're gonna get a whole bunch of stuff. All right, so here we go. No land. Column 1. No land. Land. All those are 0. So row 0, all the way 0 perimeter. Nice. Okay, second row. 0, 0. Okay, 1 perimeter 2. 1, 2. Perfect. Number 2, so we're on space 3. It is also 1, and we're adding 1. Now our perimeter is 3, right? Because there's just 1. Wow, what the? Okay, so where does this break? 3 is 6. Adding 3. 1, 2, 3. Is that correct? Went from 3 to 6. That is not correct. 0, 1, 2, 3. You know what? Something wrong with my size. How did this happen? Size of 4. Now why on God's green earth? Because it's size minus 3. Oh, because mother H. Yeah, there we go. It's because it is not a grid. Even though I thought it said somewhere in here that it's symmetrical, it is not. That should have been the first thing I caught. Is oh, it's rectangular. So it could be, and it's not square. I was assuming square. Okay. Let's see. Rows equal length grid columns equal length grid 0. Now those are all the same, at least. Calm it down, phone. Easily accountable for. Now let's just make sure we have the right spots, right? So now we know where all our sizes are. So row index needs rows. Rows. Columns. Columns. Okay. Let's take out our prints. Play it again, Sam. 18. No, don't tell me that. Did I mess up with the column index less than columns? Row index. Wait, this should be rows. There we go. It's reversed. This should be columns. Jeez. That's what I get for not paying attention. 15 still. Okay, now what? Okay, debugs, go back. Clearly I messed up somewhere. Row, row, column, column. Print rows, columns. This is not my shining moment that I thought it might be. 4 and 6. 0, 1. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So rows minus 1, columns minus 1. Yeah. Let's see. Okay, first index 0, perimeter 0. 0, we got 2, we got 3, 4, 5. Well, that's better. And then 4 is a 0. Still have 5, 5. Okay, so our perimeter is 5. That's correct. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We should get 2 on this one. 1 from the beginning at column 0, 0. Yeah, and then we have a 1 here on this one. And it only perimeter increased by 1. Number 2, land on all sides. No perimeter. 6, land number 3. Land 7. No land, no land. Back to row 3. Still 7 as we start here. Or is that here? No, that's here. That's here. So now we should add 2. We add 3. R3C1. 3C1. So something happened in our logic down here. Our row index is greater than 0. and not that's changing the row. Oh, I need the column. Or do I? No, that's correct. Row index greater than 0. We're down here. I want to be able to check the one above me. And row is this. Row is currently this. Oh, that's my problem. It's checking here. I need grid, row index, column index. Now, columns are going left and right. The current row should be fine, but let's see what we end up here. Broke. List index out of range. So what did I change that messed up everything? And it's right where we're hitting. Yeah, it's right here. This is where the problem was. So the row index is greater than 0, and we're checking row index, which should be 2, right? So second 0, 1, 2, and our current column index is 1, 0, 1, so that's this. So we should get a not, right? Let's see. No, this is bad. Let's see. Okay, we can follow this out. Line 14. Line 14. Line 39. Oh, because the max, I need to say, I forgot this -1. That's it. That's all it is. Now, yeah, that's fine. This should have prevented this from running, but because I forgot the -1. And I feel like because I've repeated this pattern, and I think this is the only time I've used columns or rows, is in a situation where I'm subtracting 1 from it. We're going to rename this like last column. We're not going to use a -1 on it. We're going to say last row here. We're going to subtract from this. Last. Oh, and this is camel case. Yeah, this is Python. They like this. So what was it? Rows. Last row. Let's make sure I get the right ones, because I'm sure I probably, and first and last column. Okay, where were we? I'm going to subtract the -1. change that, subtract the -1. Last column. Oh, it's because I put rows up here. Last row. Yeah, okay. And then let's just throw these in here. There we go. There's our 12. No breaks, no nothing. Looking good, looking fine. Finally looking. And column index less than last column. Yeah, that I like the way that reads better. Looks better. It's cleaner up here. Just comment these out. All my prints. I often like to leave them in because if there's additional debugging needed or if I need to come back to the code at some point in life, you know, it works out pretty well. Now, what did I set that alarm for? Okay, yeah, I know what it is. Let me look at this real quick. I'm gonna end up playing a game for a little bit on my phone, probably. There's an event ending in this dumb game I play. It's Marvel Strike Force. It's probably just not worth it at this point. Like, it's gone way downhill in the last year mainly. There's been so many changes that just are bad. Okay, yeah, get status. So let's see, where were we in our log? Get log 15, get stat. Let's see, get commit all with a message. I usually iterate on the task number or the project number. This one just has a 0, so cleaned up code, fixed. What was the problem we were having? We were adding, because of the and fixed, cleaned up code and corrected previous row checks. Previous and next. I guess I could have looked at my changes here, but there's significant change, so. Yeah. Don't know of a really better way to do that at the moment. Again, I might check somebody else's code and see what they might have come up with. This feels like a lot of conditionals. Of course, we passed. Yay, congrats. Yay, la la la, Pep 8 style, all that good stuff. Yay, you did things. So we can look at who else has gotten it. Topher, Linden, Ron. We can look at previous people. Sometimes this is a guy from a cohort prior to ours that. Okay, ignore that. That's our linter that I was telling you we use. I thought it was funny because I did not like it. So there's Mr. Calhoun. We're gonna go look at his interview repo and see if he came up with some interesting code, and if not, we might try some other people's code and just take a look. There's got to be something, right? No, it's the same kind of thing. I don't know if his checks are any cleaner. He called it row in range and column in range instead of using the row and column index. And yeah, see, this is, I think, He just wrapped it all in a check for the land. I'm sure these ifs look a lot better. I guess my thought process was to just check the first and last, but yeah, these could have been wrapped in here. I would have had 6 checks. So he's saying if we're at the first row, first index, add 0, or if our previous is not land, perimeter +1. Yeah, I mean, it basically just wraps these checks together. So we can say if not row index, or not the previous thing. Okay, so if we're changing that logic, we can say if not, when it does equal, or this, right? Let's see what we get in our example. Take these out. Yeah, I mean, he was using the length of the grid values, but I think I like this first to last row column. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that checks. It's the same. We're both doing the same thing. Different syntax, but yeah, I was checking more probably than I needed to. And I don't think, I tend to like this better, but yeah, Python likes the not, so. He said comparisons to 0. But I tend to, when there's a value of 0 or 1 or just expect anything or nothing, null being 0, I like to do if checks like this. Typically. Yeah. Okay, well, get status, get commit 0.2, moved and reworked, removed excess checks, excess ifs, and reworked the rest. All right, let's look again. Just to make sure we get all the checks still, if I haven't messed up any PyCode style or gone over my line limits or anything weird. There we go. Congratulations, we pass again. So that's fine. I do like this check in here. I kind of like how the enumerate worked out. I'm not, it's not something I use all that often, but I do like the way it played out. So anyway, hope you enjoyed that as an interview question. We're about to go back to Flutter. I'll probably stop the stream here, stop the recording, and you can check out the YouTube channel. It's going to be up in like a day or so. I'm still uploading some of the videos. They come in at a lower resolution, or when transferring from Twitch. So that'll be better in just a day or two. There was a 3.1 of this video. You know what? I'm going to include that in this snippet I'm about to talk about. Maybe I won't talk about it anyway because I'm going to re-upload the video as a pre-recorded. I still have the stream saved on my hard drive. I just I had internet connectivity problems, so the stream got really broken up, and I had to compile all those videos together. Anyway, take care.